this is the trap, right? This is the trap. And and there's undoubtedly some truth to it in the sense that new technologies, new functionality, new ways of doing things, that does unlock new opportunities, right? In fact, the kind of age-old joke of, right, like marketing and sales never talking, right? Well, they need they need to talk. In the most successful organizations, marketing and sales absolutely right. But if you're really trying to deliver on the promise of seamless, connected, multi-moment marketing, not only marketing and sales need to talk, but your support folks, your product folks, right? Your web developers, your fulfillment. If you're an e-commerce or retailer, right, you need to have, there's a lot of moving parts that all need to be coordinated. The way we think about it and the way we consult and advise our clients is that for initiatives to really be transformative, like digitally transformative, they need to be impacting the business as a whole, and they need to be strategically aligned to business needs and business objectives or larger changes. Hello and welcome to the Digital Disruption Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey through the ever-evolving world of digital transformation. In each episode, we explore the latest trends, strategies, and insights that are reshaping industries and driving innovation. Whether you're a business leader, technologist, or simply curious about the future, this is the podcast for you. Join us as we deep dive into the transformative power of technology and its impact on businesses, society, and our daily lives. Get ready to unlock the secrets to success in the digital age. Let's begin.
Welcome aboard. Hello and welcome to the Digital Disruption Podcast. First, thank you all for tuning in and listening to the Digital Disruption Podcast. We appreciate you being here. I guess we should also start by introducing ourselves. So, you go ahead, Patrick. You're leading this.
Thanks, Daoud. I'm Patrick Soch. I'm our Senior Director of Digital Transformation at e-CENS. I've been a digital marketer and data analyst for about 23 years now. I've worked in a variety of capacities in the industry, from being an in-house marketer when online travel first emerged, to being an account director at a digital agency, and a lot of things in between, including freelance consultant and leading a technology team at a major holdco. And back over to you, Daoud.
All right, thank you so much. Well, I am Mustafa Daoud. I am the head of content here at e-CENS. I have successfully hosted a podcast. It's doing great now, and we're trying to onboard people on the digital transformation train, and I enlisted the help of Patrick, who will be answering all of your questions and my questions, to be honest. So we want to start from the basics. The first the 101s, and we're going to start with what is a digital transformation?
Sure. It's a great question. I would say if you ask 5 or 6 different people, you would probably get 7 opinions. So digital transformation can mean a lot of things depending on the industry and who you talk to. Let's start with at e-CENS, we are a data-centric company. We help companies utilize their data in order to engage with their customers, optimize their digital experiences, optimize their media investments, do conversion rate optimization, etc. So we tend to approach digital transformation from the perspective of delivering better experiences and better results through your digital assets. So we take a measured approach. The way we define digital transformation is intentional organizational change designed to increase your organization's digital maturity, which probably prompts a follow-up question: what is digital maturity? And the digital maturity kind of represents what is your organization's set of capabilities at a given time. So a snapshot in time. What is your organization's capability to accomplish its marketing, sales, and customer experience objectives through the integrated use of technology?
That sounds good. I would ask, you said that digital transformation is the enablement of using different technologies and staying ahead of the curve. But I wanna ask, does digital transformation, integrate all of the systems and like you said different functions like sales, marketing, product? Also, I've seen product. How does digital transformation help you mash all these guys together in a measurable way that delivers ROI to your organization? How can you measure it?
Absolutely. I mean, truly, digital transformation can affect the entire organization, include supply chain and biz ops. It can really impact the way technology is used and integrated across the entire organization. So I appreciate you bringing in some additional examples. The reason why it can be so impactful is because it is holistic, right? And it is meant to impact not just the investment in technologies, but the way technology is used across the organization, right? So when we're doing digital transformation assessments, right? When we're trying to help establish a baseline of where a company's digital maturity is, we're not just looking at a technology stack. The rubric we use is kind of 4 main pillars. We look at technology infrastructure, data infrastructure, your roles and skills, so your people, and then your processes or your ways of working. All 4 of those kind of pillars holistically contribute to your overall digital maturity, right? So one thing that I like to evangelize is that, investing in additional technology, buying more, more pieces of technology is not digital maturity. It's not transformative, right? It's how you invest in technology and use that technology that's transformative, right? It's got to be tied to your business objectives. It's got to be tied to actual use cases that support what your business is trying to achieve in order for it to be transformational in any way, right? So,
I mean, we definitely need one more, tech tool to achieve our goals. We won't be able to achieve it without, one more tool, just one more tool.
This is the trap, right? This is the trap. And there's undoubtedly some truth to it in the sense that new technologies new functionality, new ways of doing things, that does unlock new opportunities, right? The proliferation of cloud-based technologies has made a huge difference in how we utilize data, deploy applications, automate processes, right? But that said, I've also, when I led a team that supported advertising technology licenses, I cannot tell you how many times organizations invest in tools and their teams don't use those tools. And so, 4, 5, or 6 months down the road, you find out that, like, I'll give you an example, like an enterprise search management platform. So you Search Ads 360, for example, a Google product. So you sync all of your search engine accounts to that tool. But if 6 months down the road, all of your account managers are still managing paid search through the Google Ads interface and not through Search Ads 360, now you're paying for technology, but you're not getting the benefit of that technology, right? So the key, I guess this sort of illustrates that point of the 4 pillars precisely, right? So with a tool like Search Ads 360, not only do you have to invest in and buy the tool, you have to have people on your team who have the skills and knowledge how to use it. You have to have the data integration to have proper measurement of results, conversion, attribution, etc. Bringing in offline conversion data if you have it available, right? So you need all of those things happening together to really, again, have technology be transformative.
So now that we have, can you elaborate more on the 4 pillars? You mentioned 4 pillars. Before I move on to my next questions, what are they?
Sure. Yeah. So this was, again, would be your technology infrastructure, your data infrastructure, which are closely related. In fact, you might even say digital maturity and data maturity at this point in time, go hand in hand, right? But so you got your technology infrastructure, data infrastructure, you have your roles and skills. So these would be your people, your talent, and then processes. And that would be your ways of working, right? So, are your teams properly collaborative? Do you have centralized measurement frameworks, right? Are you all looking at sort of the same KPIs and metrics? Do you have data dictionaries that define the core data that matters? Are all of your marketing teams, across different channels, utilizing the appropriate data, collection methodologies, naming conventions, right? All of those things matter really. They're integral to being able to, again, bring everything together holistically, right? And so, in fact, the kind of age-old joke of, right, like marketing and sales never talking, right? Well, they need to talk. In the most successful organizations, marketing and sales absolutely right. But if you're really trying to deliver on the promise of seamless, connected, multi-moment marketing, not only marketing and sales need to talk, but your support folks, your product folks, right? Your web developers, your fulfillment. If you're an e-commerce or retailer, right, you need to have, there's a lot of moving parts that all need to be coordinated.
All right. That would lead me to my next question. We've already answered like a little bit of it. What is not digital transformation? It's not definitely buying one more tool, but what else?
Yeah. So let's definitely re-emphasize that and cross it off the list. Buying a new tool in and of itself is not transformative, and in fact, it in the absence of skill, I'll go so far as to say, in the absence of well-defined use cases, the skilled people who know how to use the new tool, and a process to integrate it into your operations, it's actually probably taking a step backwards to just buy new technology. So it's also not making ad hoc changes. So it's not identifying one problem and fixing it. I'm not saying you shouldn't identify one problem and fix it. And in fact, many organizations benefit from kind of doing foundational work first before doing full digital transformation. If you don't have certain foundations right around data, measurement, technology integration, there's a few kind of preliminary things you should be doing first. So it's not so digital transformation is not like incremental adjustment and ad hoc implementations and projects, right? It's much more holistic than that. And that's not to say there isn't value in those incremental adjustments or incremental investments. I'll give you an example. You might maybe your company is currently not doing anything in the realm of customer engagement. So bringing on customer engagement channels like SMS and email marketing, in-app, push notifications, all of these channels that really do help drive additional engagement and value from your customers, that would be a great thing to bring on board. And you may not need to do it in the context of a much larger strategic journey in order to do so. I wouldn't call that digital transformation, and yet it may still have quite a bit of value to your organization, right? So I would say there are these kind of incremental and ad hoc projects that we often do when we realize there's an opportunity or something, maybe there's a gap that we're not taking advantage of. And then there are these more organization-wide, longer-term strategic kinds of initiatives that we engage in. And usually what kind of sets those apart is either our industry, the landscape of digital has changed so much that we're no longer able to kind of keep up with the pace of change, whether that's a regulatory change, proactive industry responses to regulatory changes, the changing, as digital becomes more sophisticated, more mature as a whole, customer expectations change, right? So you can fall behind just by standing still, right? In comparison to your competition and to the industry at large. So if when you can no longer make ad hoc adjustments to keep up with the pace of change and and to deliver the kinds of experiences that your customers and prospective customers expect, that's when this more transformative type of work is needed, right?
I mean, I would follow up on this and say, when before I ask my next question, I, as someone who handles content a lot and in the new evolution of AI and like ChatGPT and stuff like that, every company said, we're gonna replace our writers with with an AI writer, and every one of them failed because not that AI isn't good, but you definitely need a skilled person who can operate. And content is not something that you can offset to an AI tool and just let it go wild. Plus, it is content, and like everything when it comes to digital, it is strategic, and it has it has deep roots into every function of the business. My role as a content creator, like a head of content, it is helping not just build a brand awareness, but also help our sales team build more connections and like help them, push the wheel forward and just like move faster and just achieve more through brand recognition and people reading our content and liking our content and knowing more about our content. There is
Yes.
one more, question I would love to ask is how is digital transformation holistic? What do we mean from a strategic level of holistic digital transformation? Um, I want to know more about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really comes down to um, the way we think about it and the way we consult and advise our clients is that for initiatives to really be transformative, like digitally transformative, they need to be impacting the business as a whole, and they need to be strategically aligned to business needs and business objectives or larger changes in the digital landscape. And so, like in terms of how they're holistic, is they involve multiple teams within the organization. They involve the entire technology stack in making it, and specifically making the technology more embedded and integrated into the operations. So on one end of the spectrum, the operations of the company, and on the other end of the spectrum, in delivering customer experiences, right? So, for example, a technology like a CDP and CRM, right? They, when properly integrated, they stand to kind of unify the touch points from the moment you acquire a user to the point that they need follow-up support and service, right? So that you're across your organization, all of the kinds of communications and interactions that have been had with that customer versus, the marketing team operating in a silo, understanding, that we purchased this many eyeballs and we acquired this many new customers and we drove this many repeat customers, and sales kind of understanding they had this many, qualified leads and drove this many kind of offline sales through the sales center, and then support and service having one set of metrics, right? That's kind of maybe, traditionally where you have kind of strong fragmentation of data, right, between these different groups. In a digitally transformed organization, those three kind of touch points would all live within the CRM, right? And much of that would also live within the CDP, so that you could be orchestrating that data. You could actually be optimizing the experiences you're delivering, right? Properly segmenting your customers, understanding different tiers of customers, understanding those who are at risk for churning, and then understanding basically the full life cycle of that customer. That's not possible when you don't have sufficient integration of data and processes, right? CRM is another one of those great use cases where having a powerful tool that you have not implemented properly, it's as much of a hindrance as it is a help, right? Because if you have a tool which is meant to manage your customer relationships, but you are not actually integrating the data points that give you visibility into how you're interacting with those customers, your CRM is again, it's just an expensive paperweight. So it's to make it holistic, it's really about integrating data and technology into all of your ways of working, and across those ways of working, to kind of paint as complete a picture as possible, and to deliver as seamless a set of experiences as possible.
That answers the question. I would, a question popped up on my mind when it ties to two questions that we've asked before. So we've asked what is digital transformation, and we've answered that, and we've asked what is not digital transformation, and we've answered that. From these questions arises the next question, which is, for everyone who Googles digital transformation, they find that digital transformation is, going from brick and mortar to digital. So
right,
a lot of people would ask, and especially on the SMB side, hasn't everyone, transformed to, digitally transformed since the 2020 times, and what happened these days? Like, everyone has gone digital.
Yes.
But
yes, I mean, that's a great point. COVID obviously shook up the landscape quite a bit, especially for the SMB world, brick and mortar only businesses, kind of mom and pop shops, family owned businesses. It had a huge impact on those businesses. The ones that either had a digital presence already or were able to quickly adapt to that, had a much higher survival and flourishing rate during like one of the most challenging economic times possible for businesses. So, and some businesses certainly, failed during that time period without a real digital presence, just because so much brick and mortar business was shut down for a considerable amount of time. So the short answer is yes. It's hardly possible to find an example of businesses who have zero digital presence at this point, I would say. And even before COVID, most businesses, at a minimum, you likely had even if you didn't realize it, you likely had a Google My Business entity where you were potentially getting local traffic. You had one in Microsoft as well, right? So you may not have been optimizing it, and you may not have been, claiming the ownership to which you were entitled of your business listing, but you were showing up in more digital places than you realized, even if you weren't doing digital marketing or search engine optimization or search engine marketing. So, at this point, everybody has some digital footprint. And so, and most thriving businesses have more than just some digital footprint. The digital ecosystem is an embedded part of how most businesses work at this point in one way or another, whether that's just utilizing productivity tools, most of which are kind of SaaS based in one way or another, right? Whether that's just your Gmail and all of like Google productivity tools or Microsoft productivity tools, all of that is many times over more integrated than it was 20 years ago, right? And then some form of digital marketing is a big component for many small businesses at this point, right? Whether that's just very hyper targeted local ads, social media advertising, both kind of owned and paid, Google Merchant Center for retailers. There's all kinds of ways that digital is integrated today. But your question kind of brings up a really good point. For most organizations, digital transformation today does not mean sort of going from the horse and plow to full digital infrastructure over a 24-month period of time, right? We're not talking about organizations going from zero digital to full digital. Like that's a very extreme edge case at this point in time. So that means we have to rethink what digital transformation means, and it means how can we either through a trusted partner like an e-CENS or other organizations doing digital transformation work, or even if you just have the skill set and the will in-house, but directing change in a way that allows you to capitalize on emerging opportunities to better leverage technology in an integrated fashion across your organization, to keep up, and also to keep up with the pace of change of regulatory. What do I mean by that? Privacy and consent is the big deal, right? It's the elephant in the room, or it's top of everyone's mind. There's over 130 countries now who have some form of privacy and consent regulation in place. It's emerging. So privacy and consent are clearly emerging as a global standard of kind of basic dignity for internet users. They are entitled to some measure of privacy and consent online.
Yeah, and we've all seen it. We've all seen the banners that ask you for permission, for cookies, for tracking. We've seen iOS 14, and we've seen a lot of disruptions. I mean, there is a reason why we call this the Digital Transformation Disruption Podcast. It has...
No, exactly.
The digital has and still is disrupting and getting disrupted each iteration of GDPR, CBA, privacy laws, and even the infrastructure. With the introduction of AI, everyone lost their minds, and like it sparked, it did spark beyond just us doing business. People went on strikes, like the writers, the guild writers. They went on strike, and they demanded that you don't use AI. So
I know it.
Yeah,
I know it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really interesting. And I mean, just privacy and consent alone, it's causing a massive amount of data loss for organizations who are complying with these regulatory schemas, right? So just that alone is making marketing and measurement much more challenging than it was 5 years ago. And then if you layer on top of that the proactive industry responses to that, right? iOS, ATT, App Tracking Transparency Framework, the various forms of tracking prevention in browsers, ITP and ETP, the looming, so-called cookie apocalypse, the deprecation of third-party cookies. I mean, these are all having, kind of massive impact on the ability of marketers to reach their audiences and to measure the results. And so it's no surprise. I mean, I just saw a variety of postings from various contacts, on for Adweek events, right? And top of mind for everybody is addressability, right? How do you reach a target audience in today's world, and more importantly, in tomorrow's world? How are you going to continue to reach the audiences that you want to reach and to measure the impact of media? So it's top of mind for marketers right now. And then as I mean, Netflix, Amazon, these big heavies in the sort of digital streaming and e-commerce world, right? They uncovered that secret of seamless personalization quite a long time ago compared to everybody else, and they set the bar high, and everybody strives to deliver some modicum of seamless personalization at this point, right? And to the extent that customers expect that. And as consumers, we talk out of both sides of our mouth, which is respect my privacy and my consent, and also deliver me really awesome digital experiences that require you to know something about what I do online, right? So this is a challenge today of how do we continue to maintain trust so that people want to share information in a secure and privacy-friendly way so that we can deliver the experiences that they've come to expect.
Which is a question we're going to be addressing in our next episode, because this is time for this episode. Thank you so much, Patrick, for joining me. And I really liked how, how we're ending the podcast. It's just like, bang, 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 bang. Definitely looking forward for our next episode, and we'll see you guys there. Catch us.
Thanks, Dawood. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Digital Disruption Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of digital transformation and gained valuable insights to help navigate the ever-changing landscape. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you.